Om Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishnaya. Welcome to the 25th week of the class on the life of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. We have titled this series as Readings and Reflections. First, I will go through a few passages from this book, and then we shall start reflecting on some of the points that are come to our notice. This book is a wonderful book. This is the book that I read. And this book has been written by the author Swami Gambhirananji, who has been a wonderful monk of the Ramakrishna order. He was General Secretary, then he became Vice President, and later he became President also. We have been reading the chapter on the commission. So I will start with the last paragraph that I ended in the previous occasion. Page 119. And the aspirant wants that the Lord should, through his mercy, forgive all his weakness and inability and draw him to his lap with the fullest affection. He wants to be assured of his future by visualizing in the face of his deity this dear and dependable smile of affection. From childhood, he is used to this kind of assurance. Why should he be deprived of this in the field of spiritual advance? The selfless Guru, out of his compassion, imparts to the disciple the knowledge of higher things, whereby he can withdraw his mind from the enjoyment of worldly things. The infinitely glorious deity, endowed with the best of all qualities and transcending the lapses and limitations of life, holds before the aspirant an unsurpassable ideal, whereby he is inspired and energized to attain that state. The ever-loving and ever-smiling mother melts the heart of the child with a touch of affection, wipes away from his mind all traces of past failures and dejection, and exerts an irresistible pull whereby he gets dissolved in an ocean of bliss and freedom from cares. Furthermore, in this transparently pure attitude of the aspirant, there is no room for any bad thought, and there is no touch of selfishness and meaningless emotionalism. This figure of the mother, shining in her self-collected poise and compassion, is absolutely without a parallel. The aspirant, sitting fearlessly in her lap or holding on to her apron, can easily get across this wilderness of the world. God's incarnation as mother was necessary for fulfilling these needs. And above all, it was necessary for the deity to come down as the Holy Mother so that the present sensuous and materially minded world might be raised to a higher state of aspiration and experience. Humanity is therefore fortunate today in having this living and life transforming motherhood in a concrete form and in intimate touch with all the ramifications of life. The master was aware of this significance of the mother's life, and he appraised her of this. Subsequently, when an inquisitive disciple of the mother asked her, "Mother, other incarnations survived their Shaktis," that is, consorts, "but why did the master precede you this time?" The mother said in reply, "My boy, you must be aware that the master looked upon all in the world as mother. He left me behind for demonstrating that motherhood to the world. On another occasion, she said, when the master departed, I too felt like going away. But he appeared and said, no, you stay on. There is much still to be done. In truth, I find at long last that there is much to do. One day at Kashipur, the mother noticed the master looking at her for a long time, as though wishing to say something. And she said at last, why don't you speak out what you wish to? The master said in an aggrieved tone, well, my dear, won't you do anything? Should this, pointing to his own body, do everything single handed? The mother, conscious of her helplessness, said, I am a woman. What can I do? The master at once corrected her. No, no, you will have to do a lot. When the mother slipped down from the stairs at Kashipur, thereby spraining her ankle, she took rest barely for 3 days out of sheer necessity. And then, impelled by an extreme desire for service, she went up the master's room with his foot. Finding the master reclining with his eyes closed, she said, it's time for your diet. Get up. The master seemed to have returned from some far off land, and while still in that mood of aloofness, he said, see, the people of Calcutta appear to be crawling about like worms in the dark. Do look after them. The mother pleaded. I am a woman. How can that be? The master pointed towards his body and continued in the same strain. What, after all, has this one done? You will have to do much more. The mother wanted to change the topic and said with some emphasis, that will take its own time. Do take your food now. Then the mother sat up. The master sat up. Even before this, the master used to sing. To whom to explain the difficulty I quoted by coming here? The wearer best knows where the shoe pinches. How can others know? A maid am I in a foreign land where I blush to show my face. I can't state, can't explain what a handicap it is to be a woman. And at the same time, he told the mother, is this my trouble alone? It's yours too. The master did not rest content with reminding her of her real nature and inviting her openly to shoulder the responsibility. He also presented his devotees to her and thus created a field for the expression of her latent motherhood. At the time of sending young Sarada to the mother for initiation, he quoted a Bengali couplet to put faith in him. Infinite is the Maya of Radha, which defies definition. A million Krishnas and a million Ramas of birth and live and die. The mother did not certainly initiate Sarada on that day, for she herself declared Swami Yogananda to be her first disciple, and his initiation took place at Vrindavan years after this. But Sarada's brother, Sri Ashutosh Mitra, maintains that the mother initiated him. Perhaps the mother gave him as well a mantra after she had done so to Yogananda. Be that as it may, for the present, we are not studying the mother's reaction, but rather the master's efforts at inducing her to active ministration. With the growth of the master's circle of devotees, the mother's domestic duties in the form of cooking, preparing betel rolls, etc., began to grow apace. Just then, Latu had come to Dakshineswar to live with the master. At first, he spent most of the day sitting at Panchavati and other places made holy by the master's austerity. One day, when the master was proceeding to the tamarisk grove, he noticed the mother kneading the dough, and a little further on, he saw Latu in his meditation. He at once called the young man and said, by way of correcting his mood, hello, Latu, you are sitting here, and she over there can't get anyone to make bread out of the dough? Then he conducted Latu to the Nahabad and said, this boy is very pure of heart. When you have need of anything, tell this boy. Latu became a member of the mother's family. When Rakhal, the spiritual child of the master, came to Dakshineswar, The master introduced him to the mother. And when Rakal's wife came, he sent her to the mother with the instruction, let her see her daughter in law's face after giving her a rupee. There is a note here. It is an old Hindu custom. At the master's direction, Gopal Dada did all the marketing for the mother and Yogin helped her in various other ways. When Purna, as a boy, began frequenting Dakshineswar, the mother was one day asked to feed him. As desired by the master, she dressed the boy with garland and sandal paste and then sat by him to feed him most affectionately with the various dishes she had cooked for him. After the meal, she poured water on his palms for washing his mouth. All this time, the master kept on pacing the small distance between the Nahabat and his room. He approached the mother and gave some instruction as to how Purna was to be treated. Then he walked away. But before he had gone far, some fresh idea occurred to him and he retraced his steps to communicate to the mother. Thus, it went on till the end. As for the mother, it seems that through this endearing contact with Purna, she had not only her motherly love partially satisfied, but she also learned how to worship a boy as Narayana. The master always took pains to establish abidingly sweet relationships among the devotees and the mother. When his devotee Balaram Babu's wife fell seriously ill, the master told the mother, go visit her. The mother was used to long walks and a distance about 5 miles from the Kali temple to Balaram's house was not at all too long for her to cover on foot. But then part of the way lay through the thickly populated city, and the mother's sense of propriety told her that it would not be commendable for the master's wife to be seen walking in the streets of Calcutta. And hence she said, how am I to go? There is no conveyance. The master replied, what? You won't go when my Balaram's family is facing disaster? You will walk, go on foot. But the mother had not to walk, for a palanquin was hired, and she went into the devotee's house. It may be added in passing that during her stay at Shampukur, she visited Balram's erring wife once again on foot, and that of her own accord. There is a funny incident suggestive of the master's witty way of getting his own ideas expressed and executed through the medium of other people. Gauri Ma was then a constant visitor to Dakshineswar, and she sometimes spent the night with the mother at the Nahabat. One day, the master went there and asked her in the mother's presence, tell me, Gaurdasi, that is Gauri Ma, whom do you love more, me or her? That sprightly lady avoided a direct answer and, with a view to adding to the gaiety of the situation, sang in a sweet voice, you aren't greater than Radha, your sweetheart. O fruit player Krishna, people in danger call on you as Madhusudana. But when it's your turn to cry, you make your flute call, O thou Radha, thou young maid. The meaning of the song was very clear. The mother pressed Gaurima's hand in sheer shame, and the master left smiling in utter discomfiture. We get another illustration of a similar nature from Sri Ramakrishna Puthi, pages 353 to 355. One day, Sri Kalipada Ghosh's wife came to the master with a sorrowful face and a heart full of distress to tell her tale of woe. Her husband had fallen into bad company and was bringing ruin on the whole family. If the master could prescribe some remedy, she would be saved from a life of torment. Kali Babu had not visited the master up till then, and the people of Calcutta had not as yet come to recognize in the master a prophet of the highest spiritual order who was absolutely free from any show of supernatural powers. Not knowing much of his unsullied saintliness, the lady wanted some kind of charm from him. This was galling to the master. But for some reason best known to him, it might have been through sheer fun, or real pity for the lady or some inscrutable design. He did not dismiss her outright, but advised her to go to the Nagabat, saying, "There is a woman there. Tell her everything without reserve, and she will give you the real remedy. She knows such mantras and charms, and in this matter, her power is greater than mine." The Holy Mother was then at worship with her mind soaring in a domain of extreme compassion. She heard the woman with full sympathy, but did not do anything forthwith. For it appeared to her that the master was only having a little fun, and yet unwilling to disappoint such a distressed soul. She said, "What, after all, can I know, my child? In truth, he knows the charm. Do go to him." Finding the woman returning, the master perhaps concluded the fun had worked. Accordingly, to add more zest to it, he sent her again to the Nahabad. When the lady had thus been tossed between the master and mother thrice, the mother took pity on her. She did not want to reduce the whole affair to a merry joke, thus adding insult to injury. Accordingly, she consoled her, and taking a bare leaf out of the offerings made to the deity, handed it over to her, saying, "Take this with you, my child. This will fulfill your desire." The lady received the leaf with the greatest reverence and took leave of the mother. In due course, Kalipada Ghosh's mind took a turn for the better, and by stages he became one of the staunch followers of the master. Through this small incident, the master made the mother open out her heart in practical benevolence. Thus, as days rolled on, the mother was becoming consciously or unconsciously more and more intimately associated with the master's mission of spiritual regeneration. Though the mode of expression of her infinite power was naturally oriented by her predominant mood of motherliness. So, as I said, we shall reflect on some of the points from the passages that we just now read out. First of all, of course, I must thank my brother monk here, Swami Purnanandaji, who arranged for this online talk. I have given some online talks a few times in other places, but I think from Ireland, this is the first of my online talk, going straight to the devotees. And I find quite a good number of devotees from Ireland, of course, and from Singapore in the midnight now there, and South Africa, which is just 1 hour difference from here, and also some neighborhood countries in Europe. I welcome every one of you to this series of talks on the life of Holy Mother. Today we saw how Sri Ramakrishna was making Mother feel about her one of the important duties of her advent on this earth. Though she was very quite bashful about coming before the public and teaching him anything of spirituality, but Master made her again and again to feel that no, she must come out of the cocoon that she has created by being born in a very orthodox family and having the feel of reticence in going public. But one by one, Master saw in her traits and he tried to take out and so that the humanity can be blessed after he is passing away. And we see that this life itself is a very, very holy life. Swami Abhedanandji wrote a beautiful hymn on Holy Mother. It's a very beautiful hymn. We all sing that, and all our devotees know by heart that song. The last reading actually says that how Holy Mother take the aspirant or a devotee and puts him on her lap and excuses him from all his faults. And that verse, we took it that and examined that verse in detail last week. This, how does he experience or how does he explain Holy Mother in a very short, in one word? So Abhedananji goes into detail about the traits of Holy Mother, how she is very well compassionate to the entire humanity. And he says, Pavitram charitam yasya, pavitram jivanam tatha, pavitrata surupinne tasyai devai namo namaha. It's a very beautiful verse. He says there are two words he uses here. One is charitam and then jivanam. What is the difference between charitam and jivanam? Charitam means the history. What do you say? The life incidents. Say a person is born at such and such a place in such and such year, and he had his parents' name like this, and he grew up in that village, and then he came to the another town. Like that, when we describe the life incidents, it's called history. So history doesn't comment on that. History simply speaks what has been accomplished. But Jivanam is something different. Jivanam is life itself. That means a person, you simply state, Rama is truthful. This is Charitam. But how Rama was truthful, you explain that with a particular incident, that is Jivanam. Has Rama lived a life of truthfulness? It becomes Jivanam. But a mere statement of showing that he was truthful is Charitam. So he says, he's taking the preliminary aspect of mother's life and he says, this life of Holy Mother, the history of Holy Mothers is Pavitram, is holy. Then he didn't stop there. Then he goes into another passage there. Pavitram charitam yasya, pavitram jivanam tatha. As her history was holy, so was her jivanam. The jivanam also was holy. Now you understand, Swami Abhedanji was not satisfied with this. He thought something is lacking in the statement that I am making. When I read this verse and think about Abhedananji's dilemma, I am reminded of Tulsidas' dilemma in describing the beauty of Mother Sita. You know, when Vishwamitra took Ram and Lakshmana to the forest and had his goal accomplished, and he brought them straight to Mithila Nagar. That is where Janak Raja rules. And there Janaka, the king Janaka, has announced a Swayamvara, that means self-chosen, a practice for the princess. Who was the princess? Sita was the princess. So she was to take her husband, would-be husband. She has to choose. So Rama and Lakshmana come, and Ram has seen Sita and explains to Lakshmana what he saw in Sita, what beauty he saw in her. So Tulsidas tries to think in his mind. So he's sitting and he started writing what Rama said to Lakshmana. What he said? So first he thought, Rama said, Sita's hair, the flowing hair, that hair was like the black clouds on the sky. Now this is called Upama. Upama means example. So he's giving an example for Sita's beauty. Now you see, immediately the clouds, a portion of the clouds came and appeared before Tulsidas and stopped him from writing. Tulsidas said, what happened? Why should I stop? Why should I not compare Sita's hair with you because you are also quite black and you are quite thick. And Sita's hair was so beautiful and it is so long. So I wrote it. They said, no, no, sir, you can't compare Sita's hair with us. Because if you want to compare something with something, that something should have no defects. Mother Sita is actually Mahalakshmi who has come in this form. And you can't compare her or of her any parts of her body with something that is defective. Then Tulsidas asked these clouds, what are your defects? Then they said, you see, when we have full of water, we look very black. When you have little water, we look gray. So all the time we are not black. And then we come and go. We are impermanent, temporary only. And when the entire water is given out on the earth, we are no more there. So these are the defects that we have. But Sita's hair doesn't have any of these defects. Then Tulsidas said, okay, I am leaving you, I will not compare with you. Okay, you go away. Now he thought of thinking, he's visualizing Mother Sita, you see, and he's looking at Mother Sita's eyes. And he said, now I got another example. The eyes are like the lotus flowers. Generally Aravindasham, that is what we say. Vishnu's eyes are like Aravindasham. So it's like a lotus. So like lotus has been generally compared with the eyes. So your eyes are, then immediately a lotus flower came. And it said, sir, you are making the same mistake. Then Tulsidas asked, what is this mistake? I am comparing with you, and everybody has compared. All the Kabis, all the poets have compared you for the eyes. So why not I do it? Said, no, because I have a particular defect, which is a great defect. What is your defect? I come in a pond and I just stay on there till the whole night, the night passes on. And when the sun comes on the sky, immediately I blossom. And do you know, when the sun set, I became so sad. And then I close all my petals and go down. This defect is not there for Sita's eyes. Sita's eyes always open, and always she is looking at everyone with the compassion. How can you compare with us when we come and then go in the same day? Okay, so one by one, whatever Tulsidas thought in his mind, that came up before, that object came before him and explained the defects. Then Tulsidas thinks, oh, I cannot compare Sita's beauty with any of the items in this universe. Now he has come to the conclusion. Then he says, then how do you express the beauty in the words of Sri Rama? Sri Rama has to say, we had just now had Ram Navami all over the world. We celebrated Ram Navami, not with pomp and show this time, due to a very trying circumstances that we all have all over the world. So we all have meditated on Sri Ram quietly in our own place, in our own heart. That's why it is said that Ram was born in Ayodhya. How many of us think of the word? There are two attitudes or two streams of thought to study anything, good scripture or anything. Even that can be applied for the life of Holy Mother study also. Why I'm telling this is, it's very important to know in our mind that, look, that we generally approach any subject of stories like Ramayana, Mahabharata, or any great person story from the historical point of view. That is one attitude. I will not look into any other thing, only from the historical point of view, what it says. But there is another side, which is called philosophical attitude. So you go into philosophical side of that jiv, that is jiv. So these two things, if they are combined, how wonderful the study becomes and how wonderful it is. Just for one example, I will give you from the Ramayana, same Ramayana. I will just tell you that how these two types of studies are different and can, if you combine these two, how it can illuminate our mind. For instance, take the name Ayodhya. The word Ayodhya is a very beautiful word in Sanskrit. It comes from the root word Ayodhi. Now, Rama was born in Ayodhya is a historical fact. Okay, we all accept it, no problem. But then it is a historical fact. But then, what is the meaning of Ayodhya? The word Ayodhi. If you see that the philosophers or the rishis, whom we call philosophers now, the rishis of yore, they always thought about, pondered about these things. One great Kathakarak, that is one who gives the discourses on Ramayana, I was sitting before him and he was telling us. It was a beautiful Katha, that is the story that he was telling. And he always used to take the philosophical aspect and bring it with the life instance of Ram and then tell us. So this Ramayana has got a wonderful teaching to us. So he used to say that, look, all the audience, looking at the audience, if your mind is disturbed, you will not be able to think of God. Why the mind gets disturbed? It may get disturbed due to several factors. But one of the main factors that prevents us thinking of God is this, our worldly attachment to the objects of the senses. So we have got five senses, and five senses have got different types of objects. Now these objects, we are attached to it. So long as this kama, that is the desire to experience these pleasures, these sensual pleasures, as we put it, it is not possible to think of God. Jahan hai Ram, tahan nahi kam. There is a beautiful Hindi proverb. Jahan hai Ram, where Ram is there, tahan nahi kam. There no desire can live. So when the mind has to go to the level of desirelessness, already it is restlessness is full. It is not restful. When restful means there is no problem of fighting within each. How the mind get disturbed? Because the thoughts come into us and they fight with each other. One thought trying to predominate other thought. So there is a fight going on always. This fight has to stop. Once the fight stops, once the peace comes into the mind, then only mind starts thinking of Lord. So God's name helps us to get a victory over our thoughts. But then the idea of God's thought itself does not come unless the mind becomes quiet. That's why we have a lot of courses on meditation, etc. Why it's necessary? People simply say that, no, I don't need to meditate at all. If somebody says, I would say, well, either you have realized soul or you have not at all started your spiritual life. Because the mind has to come down. Mind has to calm down. How are you going to calm down that mind? It should be not having any tussle within. So yuddha is the word, is very well known. Yuddha means war. Generally we translate as war or a battle. So where the battle is not there, where the battle is not going in the mind, that is called ayuddhi. So in Ayodhya is a place. It is a historical place. It is is a town in the state of Uttar Pradesh in India. That we all know that geographically we know where it is. But think of that Ayodhya from the philosophical point of view, that a place named where there is no tussle, there is no fight, there is peace. And there only Ram can be born. Here Ram in the sense, the God's principle. You can think of God when your mind gets peace. So this Ayodhya word itself, you see, these two forms of study, that is historical and philosophical, if you combine together, then your study becomes very meaningful. So why I brought this is that Tulsidas was thinking about the beauty of Sita one by one, but then finally he's not satisfied with any of these upamas, any of these examples. Then he says, Sundarata kahu, Sundara karai. Finally, he comes to a conclusion. The charm, the beauty of Sita is such that it lends beauty to the concept of beauty. There he finishes. There are no words to explain Mother Sita's beauty. So he says that beautiness, if I can use that word, that the beauty aspects are made into beautiful because of Sita's beauty. He feels like that. In the same way, I find Swami Abhidananji is falling in a dilemma and finalizing it once for all. What is holiness? What is holy, you call? Her life is holy, okay, and her incidents in her life all are holy, okay. He is not satisfied with that. Then he says, Pavitrata Swarupinyai Tasya Devi Namo Namaha. To that Devi, I bow down again and again. Namo Namaha. Again and again I bow down. Who is that Devi? Swarupinyai, Pavitrata Swarupinyai. Suppose you take the Pavitrata, the holiness, as an aspect, and you give a shape to that. What it becomes? It is Mother Sarada. So Pavitrata has been put into this way, and he finally gets very satisfied. So in this type of life, the Holy Mother's life, what we see is this, that how wonderful that Holy Mother's life is holy. And by reading that, I would recommend to every one of you, at least read 2 pages every day till you finish this book. And this book can be reread again and again and again. We are reading this book from the day that I came to Ramakrishna Mission. And this book is a textbook like for us, so wonderfully written. And Gambhiranji always takes the principles and then brings that into the incidents of the life and tells us what Holy Mother should be thought of. Because we do not have any idea about Holy Mother. Who all had, even the brother disciples of Vivekananda, some of them did not have any idea about Holy Mother. So Swamiji is very frank, and he writes to Shivananji and he says, well, my boy, none of you understood the glory of Holy Mother. He laments at one place. So who can understand? Unless we have certain small ideas about the holiness, about the purity of the Holy Mother, about the compassion of the Holy Mother, and all other godly qualities that she exhibited, unless with that, how are we going to think of her, meditate on her? That's why the reading of the scriptures or the life stories are very important. It is not for something or nothing. I would say the Ramayana and Mahabharata have become so popular from village to village. You go to any nook and corner of any village in India and ask about Ramayana, people will tell you. They know the story. How it is? Because people have been taught everywhere that through many, many kathas, that is the discourses, many, many stories told in the form of poems, and many stories written in many types of Ramayanas. Ramayana itself, you take how many types are there. In Sanskrit itself, there are more than 50 books of Ramayana. And in other vernacular languages you take, each language has got one Ramayana. It's very interesting to see the main story of Valmiki is kept up, but then there are so many types of things are written. So sometimes when you read the vernacular Ramayanas, you find, this particular incident is not said by Valmiki. Where is this incident? You'll find. So this is not to be believed. It's not like that. Valmiki was the original Kavi, that original poet who wrote the Ramayana. But then when he started writing Ramayana, the Ramayana again was reenacted before his mental eyes. That is the beauty that we must understand. The difference between the vernacular Ramayanas of different incidents, though the main story line is kept up, is because each one had to see. He saw the Ramayana happening before his mental eyes. That's how he wrote. So these are all great things. And that's how the people's mind is impressed with these stories again and again. Everywhere you see, folklore is a very big thing. Our Ireland has got beautiful folklore, and there are wonderful folklore that we can see. There are many books, Irish folklore. Their books are there. I was just reading one book, started reading a book on this recently, because we are all now closed, you see. We cannot go out anywhere. So we are all kept isolated. And then one devotee from Bangkok told me that, Swamiji, this is a website. If you go, they give for 1 month free all the books in their library. So I became a member and got the story. And I'm reading that. So some of the stories, such wonderful stories are there, which bring me great joy, because most of the stories have got some affinity with the Indian folklore also. So in the ancient times, you find the world must be one. The thoughts were moving everywhere. And there were similarities in their storytelling. So I'm seeing that. So this Holy Mother's life is such a holy life that we are reading. And today's incidents, if you see that how Sri Ramakrishna brought one by one his disciples to Holy Mother and introduced to her and do that. This Purna is a wonderful character that we get in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna had great attraction, great love for this boy. And this Purna used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. And one day he took him to Mother, Holy Mother, and told her that you feed this boy. We get this resemblance. And when she decorated him with garland, etc., and made him sit, and before that had him take bath in the Ganges river, and brought him, gave him clothes, and then made him sit, and then put leaves before him and fed him nicely, sitting next to him as if his own mother. She fed him, and she did it not because the master told her to do so. She says, I took him as Narayana himself. What a wonderful idea. Serving people in the thought that I am serving a Narayana, not a simple person. A person has come to me for some need and I am serving him. That is not a very big thing, because if you have money, you can help him. If you have things, you can part with that. Like that, you can do so many things. But thinking a person as a Narayana and serve him is something great. I am reminded of an incident happened in Swamiji's life. Belur Math has been established, and Swami Premananda was the daily pujari, Nitya Puja as we call it. He used to go before Sri Ramakrishna's shrine. If you go to Belur Math, you must visit the old shrine. The old shrine where Premananda used to sit and do puja. Now also a puja is done there, and you can see that a very big picture of Sri Ramakrishna is kept there. And the next room is Swami Shivanandaji's room. So that where Swami Premananda was doing the puja, one day Swami Vivekananda entered into that shrine. And Premananda has just arranged everything ready. The flower plates are ready, then chandan, agarbatti, all the necessary items for puja are kept ready, and you are just to go and sit and start. That was the time he was to. Then Swamiji entered. When Swamiji enters with an emotion, thinking of Sri Ramakrishna, he is of a different man. Nobody can approach him. Nobody can make fun with him. Nobody can touch him. He is such a great, in a different world. And when Swamiji entered, immediately Premananda got up. His name was Baburam, as you know. Baburam got up and he stood, putting his hands together before Swamiji. And Swamiji said, Baburam, you have been doing puja of Sri Ramakrishna every day. Today, I command you, go to this village, Bali, pick up some urchins, the boys, bring them to Belur Math give them a nice bath, give them good clothes, and do worship them. And Premananji, he was very, very, um, not only he was orthodox, he had certain things also in his mind that don't touch him. So Premananji says, I have to go to a village and bring the boys. He was thinking. But Swamiji is telling immediately, Swamiji's word is, his desire is the command. If that is so, when he has expressly told something, how can I not do that? So Premanji went to the village, caught hold of some urchin boys, brought them, and then gave them nice bath in the Ganges, gave them good clothes, made them sit and did the puja. How? Fed them well. And of course, with the flowers, etc., he decorated them, etc. And Swamiji says later in the evening to Baburam Maharaj, Baburam, this puja that you did today is a real puja. Narayana is there in every being. When you do worship, that feeling that I am worshipping Narayana must come. Shiva Jnane Jiva Sheva is a mantra Sri Ramakrishna gave to Swamiji. How do you worship, serve the humanity? Take the humanity as Shiva himself. When Swamiji came back from America, he got to Sri Lanka first. From Sri Lanka, now the Sri Lanka, previous Sri Lanka. Then he came to India. So he went to Rameshram. Rameshram is a very holy place, that people go. One of the 4 dhams, it is one of the dhams. So Rameshram he came. And Rameshram people all gathered around Swamiji and said, Swamiji, please speak to us. He gave a speech there. It is available in the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. You can read Swami Vivekananda's Rameshram speech. If you Google it, it will come. Only 5-minute speech. When you read it, you cannot read more than for 5 minutes. That speech, there he says, because Shiva temple is there. Rameshwaram Shiva temple is very well known Shiva temple. And there, standing outside there, Swamiji is giving a story to the public. He said he have a great, very rich garden owner was there. He had 2 servants. Whenever he used to visit that garden, to supervise that garden, at that time, one servant would come and just stand before him and goes on speaking the praise of the master. He would say, oh Lord, how wonderful garden you have, how long and such a stretchful, is such a wonderful garden. It has got so many trees, the number of trees, number of plants, etc. He would account for, and he would tell everything. But there was another servant who used to be quietly working and working and working, who used to be taking the fruits from the trees and collect them on a basket and take the basket on his head and go to the master's house and hand it over to his wife. So Swamiji asked the audience, you see, this wonderful rich man has 2 servants. Which servant the master would love? He asked this question and he answers, master would definitely love the man who works in the garden, not the man who only tries to please the master by speaking praiseworthy words. So if you go to Lord and stand before him in the temple and then speak lots of praises, a lot of hymns are there. You can go on praising him with the hymns and come out and your heart does not throb. A man, a leper is sitting there. He doesn't have food to eat. And you can't spare at least 5 rupees to him. And he straightaway go away, turning your face. This is not religion. This is not spirituality. So thinking, when you serve somebody, you think of that person as the veritable Narayana himself, who has come in front of me and I am serving him. This is what Holy Mother did. When she fed Purna, finally, in what way she worshipped him? She took him as Narayana himself. Narayana has come to me in this form today. So I know that how there's a beautiful Narayana temple in South Africa. I used to go regularly there. and used to conduct a Tamil class also there on Tirukural. It's a beautiful temple of Narayana. And Narayana can come in any form. You do not know at all. Unless he tells you that I am Narayana, till that time you will not know. But if you think that everyone is Narayana and start serving him, and naturally he gives you the knowledge who he is. He reveals by his own grace, he will reveal to you. And that's, we find that Holy Mother's life is wonderful. So Holy Mother's ministration is an aspect that Sri Ramakrishna paid a lot of attention. He requested her in one day when mother took the food to him, and master was as if in another world, lost in thought. And at that time, after he came down little, he looks at mother, and mother is standing there with the plate of food. And he says in a very pathetic tone, do you think I have to do all alone? Will you not share my burden little? Like that, he's pleading with her. And she has got a really, a normal answer that comes to any woman. And she says, what I can do, I am a woman. Then he corrects her. He said, what of that? That's why today you find that our country, in the tradition, that there are great women saints. The gender does not matter at all for the spirituality. Spirit, from that, we call it spirituality. What is the spirit? Spirit is nothing, the spirit, this ghosts and goebbels, etc. Not that we are meaning. Here we mean that which is not physical, that which is not having a physical form, that which is unseen, but that cannot be destroyed for any time. It is called indestructible, that Atman, that is called spirit. So if you are walking towards the Atman, you are following spirituality. If you are walking away from Atman, towards the sensual pleasures only, to the bodily attachment only, then what happens? You are going away from the spirit. Just because you have got a good Rudraksha malas or Tulsi malas on your neck, can you call yourself a spiritual person? No, because you are attached to your body. So when the Sattva Guna comes and you are turning yourself to the Atman, you start walking towards the Atman, then that is called spirituality. So that spirituality, Mother had to come, and it says that the deity, the Divine Mother, has taken this form of Holy Mother, and she has come to us to exhibit before us, to actually tell us what spirituality is in this life. It's really a beautiful life. The ministration of Mother begins from here, and how Sri Ramakrishna induces her and tells her and encourages her to become the guide for the humanity after his passing away. So he said that charms, you see, there are charms. People always believe in charms. Even many people used to come to me and they used to ask me, can you, Swamiji, please give me some charm? What charm you can give? But then this lady, Kalipada Ghosh's wife, came and she was so much disturbed. So Master had some type of compassion to her. So he sent her to Holy Mother. And Holy Mother thought he's making some fun. So she sent her back. But then it happened 3 times. Finally, Holy Mother could not stand that. This poor lady is in a distressed condition. She has come, I must give her something. So she took a bale leaf, a vilva leaf, which has been used in the puja. Whatever used in the puja and remains, it is called nirmalya. A very beautiful word is there, nirmalya. This nirmalya means that comes into very great benefit. This nirmalya that has been given to the deity and has been used in the puja gets as much powers as the deity. That's why the nirmalya should not fall on the ground where you can step on it. No. You have to keep it in that basket or in that container very carefully and take it to the garden and throw all the old that flowers that have been worshipped with. You cannot go to here and there, you cannot put it. Why? Because they are all potentially powerful items. I have seen people using bhasma, vibhuti, which we all put it on our forehead. This vibhuti is used to the Lord. There is a place called Tiruchendur in South India, in Tamil Nadu, where Lord Muruga is poured over his statue or his image, that the vibhuti is poured over there. And that's called bhasma. And that is packed later and as prasad they distribute. And those prasadi vibhuti, I have seen with my own eyes how wonderfully effect they have on people's illness. So people take, even now in Jairambat, if you go, Kamarpukur, if you go, and if you go to Kamarpukur and go to that mother's temple and bring little of the mud that is there, people use even today. So these are all when you worship with what, and that item becomes equally potent with lots of possibilities. So she took that bay leaf and gave to her. And after that, the Kalipada ghost, who has never seen Ramakrishna, slowly becomes a staunch supporter of Sri Ramakrishna and is completely converted to Sri Ramakrishna. So anything that is spiritually bound with, the power can be infused with. So all these things, mother started practicing from that time onwards. So Sri Ramakrishna forced that lady to go to mother so that mother can express herself, manifest herself in another dimension. This encouragement given by master is something extraordinary. We shall continue next week. Thank you everyone for joining us. Om Kripam Kuru Mahadevi Suteshu Pranateshu Cha Charanasrayadanena Kripamayi Namostute. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.